Hello, good morning, or evening, or afternoon. Oh my goodness, it's been a crazy week. I've had, I guess, ascension symptoms all week, crazy headaches, restless sleeps, all the typical. Today we're getting into really cool topics. We're going to be talking about angels. We're going to be talking about the effects of the V. We're going to be talking about 5D ascension. But I'm really excited to talk about Prince Phillip. And I'm hoping that just saying those words don't get me flagged or banned, but I'm holding the highest vibration. Last night, I had a very fascinating dream. And I want to start off with this dream because upon waking up and reading the questions that you guys have, it all came together in understanding why I had that dream. So I want to let you know that before this morning, I had no idea that he died. I had no idea what was going on. I don't watch the news, thank God. And this dream was just so vivid. And I don't know about you guys, but all week I've had the most vivid dreams. I mean, I usually dream very vividly, but this week especially has been intense. And, I think the new moon is today, or it was yesterday, but just really, really potent energies recently. So I'll start with the dream, and then later on, I'm going to tap into the whole Prince Philip situation. And I want to compare and link the dream that I had with Prince Philip dying, because it is so clearly a correlation. Whereas when I woke up remembering the dream, I never thought that there was going to be a correlation because I didn't know that he died. So here it is. Ugh, so wild. Okay. I'm just going to say it. All right. So I visited one of the royal palaces. I don't know how else to say that. I don't know if it was like a castle or just, it basically looked like a fully decked out, like really crazy, ritzy, high ceilings, big pillars, art, lots of gold, like very lavish, giant mansion. And it was pretty empty. And upon getting into it's just so messed up. Upon getting into this mansion, I pretended in this dream, it's weird because it doesn't feel like I astral traveled there. It didn't feel like an astral travel. There was dreamlike qualities and elements to it. I'll just kind of let you discern, okay? I don't know if it was like a giant metaphor. I don't know if I actually visited, if I was doing some light work. Anyway, so to get into this giant, very highly guarded royal castle mansion, I had to pretend like I was a child. So I stripped down, fully naked, and I went into the fetal position. And there were these bins of children, mostly girls, who were all also naked, all curled up into this fetal position ball. And it was just so interesting. Like, I was just even so aware of the way that they looked. Like, there was this innocence to them and almost like a purity. Like, it's almost like as if they just came from like getting bathed. Like, they just felt very clean. Like, I don't know if that was just a metaphor. So it literally looked like almost like a prison laundry bin, like a giant bin of these children that were in the bin. I was then one of these children, and I was in the bin consciously trying to sneak into this building. I ended up getting past the guards. I ended up sneaking in. And I remember climbing out of this laundry bin of children and looking down, and I don't know, like it almost felt like they were sleeping. Maybe they were dead. Maybe they were drugged. I'm not sure. I got out. I remember looking back at them, like heart aching, but I was the only one who was awake. And I was then sneaking around this building that, once again, like, I didn't really see anyone inside of it, but I remember looking at just the high ceilings, the pillars, the gold furnishings, the art that was everywhere, the paintings on the ceiling. Like, it was just very lavish. And I was naked and I was running around, and I ended up finding a room. It was like a bedroom, and then there was this giant walk-in closet in the bedroom. And then I ended up getting dressed in the clothing there. And then what happened? Then I was running around and I was like eating food because I was really hungry. It was like I was also packing food and whatever I could take away with me. And my mission, I was on a mission when I was in there, and my mission was to basically either get some intel and information or to help the children who were there escape, right? And I just want to, I feel like there was another part of it. It's like, oh yeah, okay. It's like my whole back of my head is tingling when I'm trying to tap into this. I was like running from room to room, now dressed, but running from room to room, trying to figure out what was really going on. I couldn't figure out, where everyone was or where the children were or who to talk to about this. And I ended up getting like realized or caught and basically kicked out. And that was it. But there was something, I know that when I tap into Prince Phillip dying, there's a correlation here that's happening. So it was just so vivid. Like, I remember waking up just mostly remembering the purity and the innocence of the children who were there, and just feeling for them. And there was I don't remember anything else other than basically running around trying to find intel and then getting caught and kicked out. So we're going to kind of compare that or link that to Prince Phillip. I'm going to actually tap into that dream. I'm going to tap into Prince Phillip. What does this mean? What really happened? How do we move forward from this? Is this a good thing? What's going on, basically? Before we get there, we have many other questions, great questions to get to. Before we get to the questions, I just want to say one thing, which is, oh yeah, totally forgot about the draw, but all the names are updated. Yeah, what did I want to say about oh yeah, we've got other questions, but I do have the Galactic Federation meeting happening today as well. Just letting you guys know, if you don't have tickets for the live event happening at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, then tickets are still available. Lauren will link the ticket below, but there's also in the description, the tickets are there too. So check that out. That's just in a couple of hours from now, but the recording is going to be available as well. And I'm going to get my blender here. It's pretty full. We are going to be still adding names and basically pulling names for the next 3 weeks after this one. I also want to let you guys know, a bunch of you emailed us and brought this to our attention. I had to manually go into every Amazon blank in order to add the foreign reviews. So I want to let you know that if you're in another country buying my book and reviewing the book on Amazon, your name is in here, all right? So I went to the France Amazon, I went to the German Amazon, I went to the UK Amazon, I went to the Australia Amazon, I went to the Canadian Amazon, and then obviously the American Amazon as well, and updated all of the names. So just know that you are taken care of and your name is in here, and continue to review because I will continue to put names in here moving forward for the next 3 weeks. We are going to choose the new winner of a 30-minute session at the end of this Q&A. So let's just dive right into things. It's been intense, like I said, new moon energy. I've been having headaches all week. So let's just dive right into it. First question here, we're going to get to the Prince Phillip stuff, but we've got some other things to get to first, is from Serpa. Dear EA, can you please tell us what you know about angels? Are angels a type of ETs, or really, what's the difference? Do they have a type of hierarchy within the archangels, etc.? How and where do they live? All right. So I think a really big misconception in general is that angels are something different than interdimensional beings or aliens or extraterrestrials. Angels are aliens. That they are. I think that the misconception, like I always thought that they were something different altogether, I think because of my Catholic upbringing. And I think that we have the misconception around angels because they are prominent figures in the Bible. And the Bible, right, and typical like Christianity and Catholic religions, they believe that aliens are demons. So how does one text believe that aliens are demons, but they also promote angels? So I really think that it's actually within kind of mainstream traditional religions where angels have been looked at as something different. But I truly, truly believe that angels are aliens. They're interdimensionals. And they just live in another dimension, but they look very human. If we said that all humanoid looking beings were more godly figures than weird, gray looking beings, then that would be pretty, it would be like discrimination, right? Discriminatory, I would think. Or just very egocentric to think that anything that looks like us is godly or holy and anything else is a demon, right? I think it's just really fascinating. I truly believe that angels are interdimensionals. Typically, angels exist in the 7th and 11th dimension. Angels are most known out there in the universe for their healing abilities and for their warrior abilities. There have been so many wars in the universe between light and dark. And typically when I observe these wars, and there's many species that are involved on both sides of these giant galactic wars, but the angels are always like first line. They are there, they're signing up. A lot of angels have warrior energies to them. And I think we call upon the angels a lot as warriors and protectors and healers because they have this really pure connection to source energy. And I think that that's also why they have been regarded as holy figures in the past as well, because they're freaking close to God. They are. And that's why we always call upon them in wars, because they're close to source. So when I see angels in galactic wars, what I always see is them using their vibration, their light weapons, their energy to fight the darkness. There are many other beings who fight in these wars for the good guys, and they have actual, like, what we would consider guns or weapons or those kind of things. But if you're fighting dark forces, you want to call upon the highest vibrational frequency, which is truly source energy, and utilizing, cultivating that source within yourself to fight the darkness. Physical weapons are really, truly a thing of the past, right? So I love the angels so much. They're just such a lovely species. And I do want to say, too, that there is a bit of a hierarchy system within the angelic realms. And within the angels within themselves, the archangels don't look down upon the other angels because they don't view it as I'm above you and you're below me. There's never really that perception within the angels and the angelic realms. There really just isn't. So we could consider it as hierarchy because there are different positions within the angelic realms. I always visually see the archangels as much larger. Like sometimes I see them as 7 feet, sometimes I see them as 8 feet. Like they're quite large. They do look very humanoid. Some angels that I see have wings, and some angels that I see don't have wings. But I also understand that angels have the capacity to show their wings and to hide their wings at will, and some are given the gift of wings, and some have not been given the gift of wings yet. I've also channeled many times before earth angels, which are just humans that are, connected to the angelic realms. And I've channeled that earth angels also receive wings at certain points in their evolution and at certain stages in their humanness and their incarnations on this planet, which is really cool as well. I don't really know much about the wings. I don't know why. It always feels like a graduation. Like when you receive wings or an angel receives their wings, feels like a graduation. A lot of the other angels that exist in the 7th dimension frequency are small. Like they're about my size. They're like 5 feet tall, and they're just really just petite, very beautiful, both men and women. And some androgynous too, especially when you get into the higher, like the archangel realms, like the bigger angels. They usually all have their wings, and a lot of the times these archangels have different tools. I don't know, you could call them weapons, but I'd like to call them tools. Like a lot of angels, like maybe they have a staff, maybe they have like an instrument, actually like religion would show us, right? Different angels having different instruments, or a bow and arrow, or what have you. I've seen angels have different tools that they work with and that they use as well, which is really cool. And what else? A lot of golden vibration around angels. What else did I want to say about them? Yeah, I think that's about it. I think, 7th and 11th dimension. Yeah. So I love the angels. Okay. I think that pretty much answers how and where do they live. Like I said, just in different dimensions. I don't think that I've ever stayed long enough in angelic realms to know, but you could imagine an angelic realm like the 7th dimension, or like the angelic 11th dimension especially, being closer or more akin to like a heaven. There's no need to eat, there's no need to excrete, there's no need to work, there's no need to make money. There's just, how do we better the universe as a whole? How do we assist? How can we help out? And that's pretty cool. Good question, Serpa. Let's move on to Grace Light is the name of the YouTube channel. How can we break out of the matrix in our jobs and money? Great question. And I have some advice for anyone out there who is feeling stuck. Before I think I want to get to how do we break free of the matrix in regards to our jobs, career, money, I want to say this is the most pivotal time that I've ever experienced in my 28 years on this planet. And I'm just talking about energetically, and I'm sure physically as well, but especially energetically, it is a pivotal time, which means we're in the hinge year, right? That's like the channel that came up with the 2021 predictions. It's a hinge year. Like everything is changing. All of the old is hitting you right now. All of the new is hitting you right now. And we are in this realm of absolute chaos, but also absolute opportunity. The more you get stuck into fear and negativity and self-doubt and the old frequency and energy and shadow work within yourself, the more you are projecting that reality into your future moment. Right now, anything that we're experiencing is being accelerated and amplified and created in your future. So we all have to be very, very aware of the vibration that we have from moment to moment. That's really important. What else did I want to mention about that? Yeah, so this is just, it's an opportunity. Like we are sitting in an opportunity, like a gold mine of opportunity, okay? That being said, how do we escape the matrix? How do we live abundant lifetime, like a lifestyle, abundant lifetime? How do we live in abundance with our job and career? The first thing that I want to mention, not that I'm an expert in this field at all, so as always, take it or leave it. The thing that I want to mention first is it's about following your passion. And as much as we could say, well, if I follow my passion as a singer-songwriter, if I follow my passion as an artist, I'm always going to be a starving artist. So not only do you have to follow your passion, but you have to figure out what kind of limiting beliefs and conditions you're putting on yourself that are holding you back from being abundant with your passions. Because, in my generation, in the millennial generation, we were told that you have to go to university to get a good job to make a good money. And that's in my generation. That's in a younger generation. I can't imagine what older generations were taught, what kind of conditions, what kind of belief systems were created around, sorry, I thought my alarm was going off. What kind of belief systems were created in our childhood, right? And a lot of the times we were taught that following your passion, following what you love to do is going to get you nowhere, right? So follow your passion. So say, for example, if you're really passionate about music and you haven't been making it in your band or you haven't been making it as a songwriter, switch it up and try something different. Maybe you want to write songs for others. Maybe you want to teach children how to be great musicians. Maybe you want to be a life coach for other musicians, right? There are so many other branches. If you feel like you've been doing what you love to do, but you've been blocked, you need to look at your own conditions and your own beliefs. And if you still feel like you've been blocked, then you need to switch up what you're doing. You need to switch it up. You need to do something different in the same vein, but something different completely. Okay? If you've been doing the 9 to 5 and convincing yourself that this is the only way to fill your bank account by doing something that you hate doing, then you really need to think about, what would I love to do? What would my ultimate passion be? So right now, the way that energy and vibration is going, don't think about the systems in place. Don't think about the big brother. Don't think about all of that. Think about the vibration that we're entering into. The vibration is going to reward people who wake up and feel like they're not going to work. What could you do every single day that is not going to feel like work for you? What is that? You got to know what that is first to break out of the matrix. And then you will be rewarded doing that. And I was actually just out with friends last night and telling them, about manifesting things. So I was laughing and I said, the way that I've been able to manifest the 2 biggest things in my life, actually the 3, let's call them 3 biggest things, which is my relationship, the new house that we just got in Canada, and my job, my career, was getting pissed off. And I don't mean that in like a get angry or get into a low vibration of reaction and trigger. It's not about that. It's about intensity. Years ago, like back in 2014, when I was working like a 9 to 5 job, right? And it was a job that I really enjoyed. I was a youth counselor, a youth worker. Yeah, I worked with youth. It was great. It was so much fun. But I also knew that I was here for something more. I knew that I was here to help humanity. And so I yelled at my guides and I said, guides, you've been giving me all of these downloads. You've been telling me all this information. You've been connecting me with all these crazy interdimensional beings who have amazing insights for humanity. I said, if this is what you want me to do, then I need to make money doing it. Because right now I'm channeling great insights, not giving them to anyone but my friends, the people who will listen. And I'm working this job and I have no extra time, no extra energy to do anything else to pursue to make money. So I said, you have to give me, you have to support me financially if you want me to do this full time. I yelled at them. All right. Now the yelling wasn't necessarily through it was through reaction, but it wasn't a low vibrational yelling. It was like an intensity of, come on, something's got to give. Guess what happened? The very next week, after I got pissed off at them, / my higher self as well, because we are our own guides, I was working in my job and I had someone come in and they said, they were asking me questions and I was giving them my input on life and this reality and this matrix and whatever. And they're like, oh, wow, you're so fascinating. So you must be a psychic, right? And I'm like, well, I'm, more of like a life coach, but yeah, I guess you could call me a psychic. And they're like, oh, well, can I come get a reading from you? And I said, yeah, you know what? I guess you can. And that's literally what started me taking clients and gaining access to finances that was escaping the matrix. The same thing with my relationship. I was about to get married to a guy that I didn't know that I fully loved. And I yelled at my spirit guides. I yelled at my higher self. And I said, guys, if this isn't the person that I'm supposed to marry, give me a sign, shake up my world, rattle my life, because I don't want to be doing this if this isn't right. And a couple weeks later, I ended up meeting that, right? And it all kind of unraveled and unfolded. So it's through intensity. It's kind of through getting to your wit's end. It's kind of like getting to the bottom of the barrel and yelling for change. That's what I felt like I was doing every single time. Same thing with the property. I said, guides, don't get me pregnant if I don't have a house and a property and land and something that I feel safe within to have children on. There's no way I'm having kids in LA. Like, I'm telling you that right now. And a week later, the dream property that I have dreamt of my entire life popped and landed into our laps. So it's through that hinge, it's through the pivot, it's through the rock bottom, in a sense, where things will change, but you have to be clear and you have to be intense about your intention. It's that intensity. It's not the anger, it's the intensity. And I would say the energy that I was in every single time I had that intensity was almost like a desperation. And at my wit's end, there was no attachment anymore. There was no belief system. There was no anger. There was just like, this is it. I mean, I'm giving up if this does not turn around for me, So just that's how I've been able to change my matrix. Doesn't mean that maybe applies to everyone, but it's worked every time for years, for many, many years. So I suggest it. I suggest yelling at your guides every once in a while in a healthy way. All right, let's move on to Woke Pixie. Hey, EA. And then we're going to get into the Prince Phillip stuff. So stay tuned right after this question. Hey, EA, chemtrails. They're pumping the skies like crazy. It's sickening. How do we go about putting this to a stop and informing the world of what they're doing? Okay, so I've noticed it here in Los Angeles. I mean, it's been like, they used to do it like back in the day, years ago. They used to do it only at nighttime, to kind of cover their tracks. And now they don't even care. Like, I'm seeing lines, like a freaking grid system in the sky all the time here, especially here. But I'm sure, other places in the world. The day that we landed in Venice, Italy, there was the most chemtrails I've ever seen, even more than Los Angeles. Same thing with Joshua Tree. I've seen chemtrails in the middle of the desert. Like, what are they doing? So a couple of years ago, I had a client and he was really big into conspiracy theories. He was really, really sketched out, let's say, about AI and really sketched out about nanoparticles and the fact that they're putting nanoparticles in everything. And one of the biggest fears that he had was nanoparticles in chemtrails. And he said that he could, I mean, he was very paranoid. He said that he could feel the nanoparticles in his body moving around, all of those kind of things. And so he ended up leaving his home. He lived in his car. He traveled around in his car trying to escape chemtrails and nanoparticles. And, you know, I tapped into his energy and I did confirm that, yeah, nanoparticles are a thing. That's true. They are putting it into a lot of things, okay? But what I channeled for him back then is the same that I've channeled since then, is we are able to get rid of anything that is harmful within our body because we are in full control over our body. We are in control of this domain. I believe that wholeheartedly, without a doubt. And that's why your belief is really important. If it's one thing to believe in nanoparticles and chemtrails and that the fact that there's shit in our water that isn't serving us, okay? But there's another thing to believe that you are powerless against these forces and that ultimately you may die, okay, because of these forces. So if I observe someone like this guy a couple years ago, and I think about it, and I think this guy was exposed to nanoparticles and chemtrails his whole life, but the second that he read all of these articles and all of these things and really got knowledgeable about those things, his health started to decline because he allowed the belief system that this is going to be detrimental to me to affect him. And all of a sudden, a very young, priorly healthy dude started to look very, very sickly. And he was blaming the things that were always happening even before he knew about them. Right? So this all comes down to the placebo effect. And, I've never done research on I've looked at a couple of placebo effect studies. I think they're absolutely fascinating. I think there's so much to learn from the placebo effect. I believe Dr. Joe Dispenza does a ton of actual scientific research on the placebo effect. And he's got a ton of great books out there from what I hear. So check into that, right? Our belief system is everything. And I know that through changing and shifting my vibration, I was able to deactivate the genome for lupus, for autoimmune. And even though my blood and my system still tests positive for that within my genome, all of the symptoms are repressed or whatever it's called, right? So we can do that. We are in control of these things. Never believe that something that you're eating, something that you're drinking, something that's in the sky, even something that you're predisposed to because your mother had it or your grandmother had it, don't convince yourself that that is going to be your fate. Understand that we can change anything in the physical. If we can levitate or stick our hand through a wall, which is also true, we can do that. We can, disobey the laws of physics based on the laws of quantum physics that we're still figuring out, then we can live a completely healthy life based on what we believe and what we observe. All right? So yeah, chemtrails are shitty and they're happening more frequently than ever before and they aren't good for us. But ultimately, we can rise above that. Now, one of the things that I asked about years ago, actually, I think it was in the same session that I channeled for this client of mine, I asked his guides, is there something that he can do physically, because he was having a very difficult time raising his vibration and looking at the positive. I said, is there something that he can do physically that's going to help him? And the thing that they suggested for chemtrails and also like heavy metals in our food and in our water was actually activated charcoal. This is a practice that I still do maybe once every couple of months whenever my body feels like it's appropriate. I really want you to do research on this. I'm not a medical practitioner. Like, you definitely cannot just say, EA said to do this, so I'm doing it. Please don't. Please think for yourself, question everything, all right? Do your own research on ingesting activated charcoal. I definitely incorporate this into my own life. I take about a teaspoon, very, very, very small amount of activated charcoal. The particles are so fine that you really don't need more than that. And I will put it into my water and I will drink the activated charcoal just as it is. And I will tell you that every time I do this, every couple of months or maybe once or twice a year, I will get toxic bloat syndrome, which means that my stomach bloats out to like here, literally looking like I'm pregnant. And the first time I did this, I said, oh my goodness, my body's reacting in a really negative way to this activated charcoal. I shouldn't do this again. And I did a bunch of research, and turns out it is the activated charcoal clinging on to heavy metals in your body because there's so much toxins within our body, and the activated charcoal flushes your system out of not all, but a lot of the heavy metals, the nanoparticles, and basically the shit that we ingest. So I recommend it, but please do your own research and discern for yourself if that's going to be right for you. All right. Okay, let's move into Prince Phillip. What is going on? Someone mentioned in the chat, I didn't do the research, so I don't know if this is a fact, but someone mentioned that he died he died at the age of 99 on the 9th day of the 99th day of the year. Please fact check that and maybe type in the comments below. Like, I don't know. I do know that the number 9 is the number of death and rebirth, okay? It's a huge cyclical or cycle number. So let's just tap into this. Let's tune into why did Prince Phillip die? If we take a look at the binary reality of that aspect right there, it's either, wow, what a divine, beautiful 5D timeline to leave on, 9999 or whatever, right? The death and rebirth and the new cycles and whatever. It's a beautiful, positive thing. Or, it was all very divine with the 9s because it was actually like a blood sacrifice or whatever, right? So it's just so interesting how we could really perceive this in two very different ways. And from a higher vibrational perspective or a 5D perspective, they both exist. It always comes down to Schrodinger's cat, guys. The positive of, wow, this is a brand new cycle and this prominent figure is passing. And at the same time, it could have, and maybe probably was, some sort of sacrifice because of the alignment of the time and the day and whatever, right? So just know that both exist. There's not one or the other. It's both simultaneously. It's Schrodinger's cat. It's dead and alive. And someone also mentioned as well, and I want you guys to kind of maybe chat, either last month or the month before, I had a Galactic Federation channeling on the 11th, as always, which is happening today, by the way. And the Galactic Federation said that a man was going to be dying or passing away in 2021 that was going to be a prominent figure, but they didn't show me the face and they didn't give me a name. So if you guys remember that, because I don't remember that, I really don't remember much of what I channel from the GFL. It just comes straight through me. I'm glad that I don't remember much because I don't think my brain has the capacity to remember all the information that they give. So if you guys remember that channeling or that information, please comment in the live chat below or comment below this video and let everyone else know what was that information. Was there anything more about who this guy was or what the reason was of why he was going to pass and the changes that were going to be? Obviously, they brought that up for a reason, right? So I don't know. Today in the Galactic Federation channel, we're going to get into a ton of stuff that's going to be really important. And even today in the Q&A, we're going to talk a little bit about the V and dying. And that's actually the question right after the Prince Phillip thing is, doctors and scientists and channelers are all saying that, yeah, this V, okay, is going to shorten the life expectancy of us or of whoever gets it, later down the line. So I'm going to channel into that as well, just to see what needs to come up. But first, let's take a look at my dream. For those of you who are just popping in, I had a very vivid dream last night without knowing that Prince Phillip died, of basically sneaking into a royal mansion and sneaking in by pretending to be a naked child. Like, it's so disturbing. I don't know. Let's just see what comes up. 1 second, guys. Okay, very fascinating. Okay, the first thing that I saw was it was really difficult to get information. Of course, it's heavily guarded, like heavily guarded. The first thing that I got was, I literally saw this image of Prince Philip in a bed with doctors and other people around, and it felt like it was a planned exit. It was very difficult to get the intention behind the planned exit. Very difficult. I also want to say too, take or leave any of this information, because it's pretty wild, that they're going to either not request a, what is it called? Like a toxicology report, or like whatever, like I can't find my words, the way that a person dies, right? They're not going to request that. Either they're not going to request it, or they're going to flub it, or they're going to change it. For whatever reason, the method in which he passed is going to be a lie. Okay, I'm just going to say that straight up. So it's very fascinating. Here's what I had to do. It took me a little while to get in, and I don't think I've really ever done this before. There's all these guards, let's call them etheric or energetic guards, that were all around it's kind of like the White House for the royal family. I don't know what house that would be. But they were protecting the whole situation. So it's very difficult for astral travelers, remote viewers, channelers to gain access to the information. So I show up, instantly I'm blocked and kicked out. And then I did something that I don't ever usually do. I literally changed my astral appearance to literally mirror or look like one of these beings. Look like just like dark entities, but they looked a little bit different. The guards of the royal family entities looked different. They were very tall and long. Yeah, just very tall and long and just dark. They were just shadowy and dark. And so I shapeshifted myself in my astral body into that. And I even changed my vibration. And before I did, I asked my spirit guides, I said, is this going to be detrimental to me? Like, am I going to let something in if I change who I am in the astral realm? And they said, no. And I said, I even asked them because I was so curious. I'm like, how does this even work? Like, how am I able to do this? And how am I able to fool them? Like, how can they not see right through my projection of what I look like as this dark entity? And it's so interesting. My spirit guide said, because they don't have a pure connection or a purity within them, like purity of source, they get fooled and manipulated very easily. So what they explained to me was when we are pure or in that pure essence of, let's call it unconditional love, right? That mirrors source energy. It's very easy for us to discern what is pure unconditional source and what is anything but pure unconditional source. So interesting. That makes sense, right? It's like source is what it is. It's the purity. And there's all these projections and potential manipulations around source energy. So it's very easy to pretend to be one of these projections or manipulations. Rather, it's impossible to pretend to be source. And that's why, these dark entities could try and fool you of like, I'm an angel, but they're really not if you're really truly tuning into their vibration. We could fool them. This is like a huge breakthrough for me because I'm like, this is great. I never have to be stopped again. And I'm also wondering, why didn't I figure this out before, that I could just shapeshift into different things and bypass security? Anyway, long story short, that's what I ended up doing. I literally went right through their blockade and I took a look at the situation of what happened and why it happened. Now, what I really wanted to look at was, what is the true dynamic between Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth? That's what I wanted to know. Who is he to her? Because he's always been like seemingly undermined, pushed to the side, suppressed, like really just not respected. So the first word that came up was pillar, which means that he's always been this essence of support to her. We kind of already know that, right? I don't really know much about the royal family, but that's very obvious to see on the outside. Digging a little bit deeper, there was something else that came through. He was still very corrupt. He was very corrupt. Even in the thumbnail of this live video, like you can see the the reptilian essence coming out in him, just like you can very clearly see it in a lot of images of Queen Elizabeth. It's gross. Like, you can even see it in images of like older Rothschilds as well. Like you just the beady eyes and the teeth. I don't know. Anyway, not to judge someone on the way that they look. He ran the behind the scenes operations of the child sex trafficking. And he was basically Queen Elizabeth's right-hand man as far as doing orders for her. He was like the one at her will doing the things that she wanted, but she was more the face of the operations, I guess, on the planet. She's also the lead. I've talked about this before, but she is the leader of the reptilians on the surface of this planet. Her, along with the other 6 wealthiest families in the world, one of them being the Rothschilds, Roosevelts, what have you. I think the Roosevelts are one of them, but maybe not. But the Rothschilds for sure. I always get them confused. Anyway, she's the leader at face value on the planet and then also behind the scenes, but he did all of her bidding. I'm just going to tap in one more time. I want to see what the dream was all about, how that relates to the whole situation, and see if I can pull any other good information or details in relation to what was the purpose of his passing. I do feel like I feel like the system is being taken down. I just want to see. I just want to see if I can extract anything else. 1 second. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so right away with the dream, in relation to the dream, the word that keeps coming up here is infiltration. Infiltration, which is funny because all this past week, this word infiltration has come up in my mind, and I'm like, I didn't even think about it, right? So last night in my dream, I was infiltrating the royal family, the mansion, trying to get information. I got zero information other than, in order to get in, I needed to pretend to be one of these children, which is so interesting how in order to get in behind the guards now, I'm needing to pretend to be one of these dark entities, right? So like infiltration. Now, the reason why I had that dream last night, the reason why I was infiltrating is because a lot of us, light workers, astral travelers, remote viewers, grid workers, earth healers, we're all getting drawn to infiltrate the system because the system is collapsing. It's easy to infiltrate the system at this time because it is collapsing. And what else did they say about that? There was something else. One second. Yeah, it's like there's a weakness within the system. And I mentioned this not too long ago in another Q&A, like the whole Meghan Markle thing, that is also a really clear indication of the completion of what happened with Princess Diana and the breakdown of the royal family. Now, to us in the modern day, it's like, cool, the royal family really didn't have a lot of power before or recently, so why does it matter if they're breaking down? But I have to let you know that it is the royal family that has and holds most of the power behind the scenes when it comes down to the reptilian shapeshifter civilization on the planet and the control system on the planet. So who cares if they have any power, in the mainstream? It is the power that they hold behind the scenes, and that power is collapsing. And that structure default, that weakness within the system got started with Princess Diana. I don't know about you guys, but I have always had this like really strong connection or kinship with Princess Diana. When I was like 10 years old, I dressed up as Princess Diana as a Halloween outfit. And I went out as like Princess Diana for Halloween, So I think the reason why a lot of us have had this kinship towards her is because she's a leader of the rebel movement. She was put on this planet to take down the system, and we recognize that within her. And now, whether you love her or hate her, I don't really know anything about her, but Meghan Markle's kind of the same thing. Her and Henry are taking down the system. They're exiting the matrix. They're saying, I don't want anything to do with this. And it's incredible. And there's so many completions that are happening. So that was a part of the dream was, this is go time. It is time to infiltrate. So even though I did not get the answers that I was seeking by understanding what's going on with the children within the royal family system last night, now is the time for all of us, anyone who remote views, anyone who even remote views subconsciously, which is all of you, now is the time to infiltrate the system. So interesting. I just want to write this down. You know how we all did the giant portal work like a month ago or 2 months ago? I mean, what is time? This is a time for all of us to rally together. This is it. To do energy work and portal work within the walls of the royal family system. I have to write this down. Portal work. Royal family. Never before has that system been weak enough to infiltrate it. That's why the word infiltration has come up many times before to me this past week, is because we are all getting prepared to infiltrate the royal family system. Now that Prince Phillip has died, the system is weak, and guess who is especially weak? It's Queen Elizabeth. because she doesn't have her support. And the other thing that I saw within their dynamic is she feeds off of him. It's gross, but that's what they do. They feed off of us. And guess what? They feed off of each other, right? There's no stopping who they feed off of. She was feeding off of him. Okay. So I don't think today is going to be an appropriate time to do the portal work and the infiltration work. But this week, maybe today, I will schedule a video where I will do a live portal activation and channeling. Now, whether you show up live or not, it doesn't matter, because just as the portal work that we all did the other night, a month ago or so, you guys show up. I call you in, you recognize me in the astral realm, and you guys show up. You don't have to show up live to show up energetically. So let's do that. I'll channel that. I'll see what day this week, what time this week we need to go in and infiltrate, but it has to be soon. Like maybe we do that tomorrow together. So I'll get on that today. I'll schedule that out. Please watch out for that. Other than that, I want to see if there's anything else that we can know about Prince Philip's death and the aftermath of that. How are things going to unravel after his death now that we understand that the system is weak, and maybe any other input around why did he die at this time? I'm just so curious. 1 second. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay. I think this is all I'm going to get for now, and I'm hoping that doing the portal work, more information will come, so we'll see. But here's what I got. Queen Elizabeth knew about his passing and when it was going to happen before it happened. So we could say that it's kind of more on the lines of like the sacrifice, but it's also the 9-9 is a very clear indication of the death and the rebirth. What's really fascinating is right now, Queen Elizabeth is preparing the next in line to take over the rule. Once again, it has nothing to do with ruling England or any other kind of, English colonies or what have you. It has everything to do with ruling the back end and how to rule the reptilian shapeshifters. And so I asked the question when I was tapping into this, I think it's Charles, right? Her son that she's training or something. And so I asked the question, I was like, what was it? I said, I said, they're dying off, right? These reptilian shapeshifters, the dark side, the vibration on the planet is raising. What is Queen Elizabeth doing? Doesn't she know that they're dying off and that, Prince Charles doesn't really have a whole lot to look forward to as far as ruling, the reptilian elites, because they can't be on this planet anymore? I was just confused. Aren't they aware of what's happening? And the response that came back was, yeah, they're fully aware, but it was almost like this image of if you could imagine the darkest or most corrupt warlord, and all of the soldiers are dying in battle, but the warlord is saying, keep going, keep fighting. It's like Queen Elizabeth is still motivating all of her servants, in a sense. So gross. The whole situation is so gross, but she keeps motivating them to keep going because she has She will never stop. She doesn't care if she is the only one left on the planet. She will never stop the fight to rule over the slaves that she perceives as human beings. So wild. So wild. And I want to let you guys know that this is all information that I channeled back in 2010 without doing any research, without looking on any websites, without diving into any conspiracies, without getting any sort of external manipulation or projection or input. This is information that I channeled straight from the Galactic Federation. They said, we need to let you know what is happening on the planet. And my ear just popped. Okay, this is not a Q-related conspiracy. This has nothing to do with the information that has recently been disclosed to humanity. This is just the truth. This is just what's been going on. Take it or leave it, as always. But wow, that's wild. So, Queen Elizabeth is preparing for her own exit point. It's about time. Like, oh my God, how is she still alive? The only way that she is still alive is unfortunately because of the blood of the innocent that she consumes. And I know it's gross and it sounds absolutely batshit crazy, but I saw that in 2010. I saw that 10 years ago, right? 11 years ago. I saw what they were doing. I was horrified. Anyway, she is preparing for her own exit point. When is it going to happen? I don't know. I don't get that information. But it's going to happen. And she's preparing the next in line to take over the reptilian rule. And she is just, boom. She feels like she is stronger than ever, fighting the planet, trying to gain access to control. Wow. This is the time, though. The other thing that I received was, I'm getting full body chills. We have this very, very small window of time between Prince Phillip passing, Queen Elizabeth passing, and I'm not talking like days. Like, I don't think she's going to pass in the next week. It could be the next couple of years. And basically the new rule taking over. But because of the media storm, because of everything blowing up right now, this is a moment where the world is in chaos frequency, or at least England is in chaos frequency of like, what's going to happen now? And like, what's going to happen? Whatever. Where we can infiltrate. There is so much focus and all of these guards. Yeah, you know what? When we infiltrate, because we're going to do that this week, I am going to teach all of you how to cloak yourself into something else, either an invisibility cloak, which is kind of mandatory, or actually changing your vibration to pretend to be one of these things so that you can do this, anywhere. So I'm just going to write that down, cloaking. I'm going to get some information beforehand. Is it necessary for us to shapeshift ourselves, which is so ironic, right? We're shapeshifting the shapeshifters. Like, it's just so beautiful, actually. But I think that's it. I think that's all for now. We'll leave it there. We'll come back around. I'll just kind of channel, in my own free time today when the right time is going to be. And then you guys will get a text message or a notification on YouTube for when that's going to be this week. And we'll just go. We'll infiltrate. We'll do all the things live. I think that'll be amazing. Good. This is all positive. Like, in my view, all positive things. Yeah, the dark side is still going hard. Yeah, unfortunately, children are still getting trafficked, especially for the royal family. And I channeled that, I think, in a GFL channel, that other places, other celebrities, other shapeshifters are being cut off, but that is still being fed to the royal family. They are kind of the beginning of it, and I think, they're going to be the end of it, right? So I think this is a really positive thing. Change in general is a very positive thing in this way. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yes, we have basically one more question. I know we're a bit over time, but thank you for bearing with me. And this is about the V I'm not going to say the name or the word because has been shadow banned big time. All right. So this is about the V. And yeah, we're going to maybe touch upon that in the GFL Summit today. For those of you who don't know, I've got a Galactic Federation meeting happening live today in a couple hours from now. So tickets are available. You can check out the live chat for the tickets from Lauren, or you can check out the description of this video and grab your ticket before the live GFL Summit, or of course, you can grab the recording right after. But I already feel the intensity of the GFL meeting today and the amount of stuff that needs to be said. So that's going to be great. And obviously, just one more thing before we get to the last question. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, but you enjoy the content, please go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, or sign up for the SMS text message notifications to get text message alerts about the live videos or the spur random videos as well. Okay, so this is a question from Sylvia Frederick. So far, I have heard that those who receive the V reduces their life expectancy. And then, she went on and on and on about all of the horrible things about reducing the life expectancy of those who got the V. This just sounds like a very serious issue. Is this something that can continue like this? Is it part of a bigger plan, even for the light? I just want more clarity on how healers can help this world from this point forward. Okay, perfect. So let's talk about the V, and specifically, let's talk about how all of us as healers and starseeds and conscious participants of this matrix reality can basically help those who have gotten the V, whether they are your friends or family members or just random strangers, to help them. Now, the biggest argument that I have to mainstream people who are thinking about getting it is we just don't know what the long-term effects are. Right? So to friends and family members, it's like we really just don't know what the long-term effects are. However, like I mentioned in my whole V video that I did, if you're going to take it, for whatever reason, make sure that the reason why you're taking it is not a reason of obligation. It's not a reason of fitting in. It's not a reason of, all my friends are getting it, or my family is pressuring me into it, or I'm scared that I'm going to die without it, okay? As long as you're shifting and raising the vibrational frequency of your perception around it, and you make a clear statement of, I am not allowing anything within this to harm me, you will be able to take it and to be okay after taking it. The most detrimental part about the V, in my perspective, is the battle and the fight that we have within not just the spiritual communities, but within the mainstream communities. I don't care what side of the argument you're on, but you shouldn't be telling anyone not to take it, and you shouldn't be telling anyone to take it. Because either way, you're taking away someone's free will, and you're trying to push your belief or perception on someone. That's only going to lead to more obligation, to more manipulation, to more fear around the issue. As a conscious spiritual participant, it's okay to be a rebel. It's definitely okay and needed to question the narrative. It's even okay to push the narrative, but do not ever push your narrative on someone else, whatever that may be, right? And that's why for me, especially having a network and people who listen and look up to me, I would assume, and I always say, look up to yourself first, right? Question everything. And for me, it's never been about right or wrong. It's never been about take it or don't take it. It's about discern within yourself, raise your own vibrational frequency, And don't do anything just because society is telling you to do it, or don't do anything because some sort of spiritual guru is telling you to do it. All right? You are the only one who knows what you need to do. Just like voting in an election, right? You don't have to tell people what your decision is, but make sure that whatever your decision is, you feel in the highest vibrational frequency around that decision. And that's what's most important at the end of the day. As far as life expectancy and dying after taking it, I have not channeled this. Doesn't mean that I'm the end all to be all channeler with all the information. Okay, there's so much that I don't know, and I will readily admit that. The Galactic Federation, my spirit guides, they have never mentioned that there is going to be a mass exit for those people who took it. And yeah, I have heard some really horrible stories about people who took it and passed away suddenly after taking it. And there's a lot to question there, absolutely, without a doubt. But I also understand that it is like Schrodinger's cat, that both realities exist simultaneously. All I ask is that if you take it, you raise your vibration around it. And that's it. That's really what it comes down to. Is it objectively super detrimental? It's a good question, and I don't think I have the answer for that. If we were to say, is alcohol objectively detrimental? I would say yes. It lowers your vibration and it poisons your system. But do I believe that we can raise the vibration of alcohol so that it doesn't have a negative effect around our body and our system? Yes, to a certain extent, right? You can't drink a whole bottle of vodka and expect that it's not going to detriment you, even if you have a high vibration around it, right? So the biggest thing is that I don't want anyone to hold any sort of resistance or fear around anything. Because all that means is that you're getting trapped into a paradigm. You're getting trapped into a dogma. Whose dogma, whose paradigm are you getting trapped into? Are you getting trapped into the mainstream fear of if you don't take it, you're going to die and get sick? Or are you getting trapped into the spiritual dogma of if you take it, you're going to die and get sick? There is going to be scientific evidence. There are going to be doctors. There are going to be legit studies on either end of the situation, just like there are legit studies on either end of fluoride in the water or chemtrails in our air. It's not about going to an external source to understand what is right and what is wrong for you. It's not. All you're going to get is pretty good arguments on either end. All that's going to result in is more confusion at the end of the day. And confusion leads to disharmony, distrust, and doubt within yourself. And the more that you doubt within yourself, the more separated from self you become. Therefore, the more separated from source you become. Right? The knowing is always from within. And I think that is such a skill that the Galactic Federation has and these other beings have. I want to say especially the Galactic Federation has the skill of being very objective around things. If I were to talk to a Palladian being who lives within the Pallades, who does not work for the Galactic Federation, they might be biased, which is a funny concept. That an interdimensional being from another dimension is going to be biased. But it's true. Individuals who work for the Galactic Federation are taught all about objective observation. They're taught about 0-point frequency. They're taught about neutrality. In order to be the UN for the universe, you got to be neutral. You can't have your species' best interest in mind. Not like our UN. Our UN is the most corrupt non-government organization I've ever observed in my life. Right? They're a little bit better than that. And the neutrality is what I love about their perspective. They've never told me, Elizabeth, this crazy, awful thing is about to happen to planet Earth, and people need to do X, Y, and Z to get away from that. It's always been, teach people that they have the power to change anything. And that's where freedom really lies. And I'll leave it at that, right? Okay. And I do have one more question. We're going to get to the live draw as well. And then we're going to close, and then I'll see you all in a couple hours for the live Galactic Federation. This is from Frequency Dancer. Uprising Reptilians. Hi EA, can we get an update from Sasha as to when they're likely to go into an uprise and how that will impact humans? Every month I tap in, mostly every month, I tap into Sasha, who is a reptilian leader for the Good Reptilian Rebel Movement. And I ask her basically, what's the update on the rebel uprising? I got an update from them last month from the Galactic Federation meeting. I'll get an update from Sasha this month. Where is the rebel reptilian uprising at? Where is the child sex trafficking at? Where is the dark agendas at in general? That's what the Galactic Federation meeting is all about. Where are the dark agendas at, and where is the Galactic Federation at, right? So we take a look at both sides of the agendas on this planet, and basically what do humans need to know right now? Those are my main three things that I always ask every Galactic Federation meeting. So I'm happy to really deep dive today to really get some answers, and I'm really happy to infiltrate with all of you this week and do the energy work that we came here to do and uprise against. And it's funny because maybe we can get the rebel movement to uprise with us or to infiltrate with us. We'll have to see, but I'll get some good insight today from the GFL. That being said, I've got, oh my goodness, I've definitely got over 200 names in here. And for those of you who don't know, these are the names individually written down all this week of people from all over the world who have reviewed me on Amazon. Whether you bought the Kindle or you bought the Amazon book, your name is in here. And no matter what country you reviewed me in, your name is in here. So I made sure to get all of you guys. So this is going to be a draw for a free 30-minute session. And I'm just going to hold the highest vibration. And then maybe we'll do a bonus draw as well for a free New Earth bracelet. So let's just set the right intention. Obviously, you guys all probably could really use a 30-minute session right now at this time. But I'm looking for that individual who is desperate for one. All right, I've got a couple here. It's like three connected, but I feel like I feel like the green really needs the session, and then the pink and the orange, we can give away New Earth bracelets too. So, little drum roll. Oh, okay. We've got, so these are just the names that are on Amazon reviews. Indri.uk. So this is someone out of the UK who reviewed me in the UK from Amazon.uk. I needed to write down all of the countries because, basically because, I wanted to make sure that it's all good. I don't know if you can see that. Indri, Indre. So Lauren, if you can mark that down, and then we don't have your email address, Indri, so please, please, please contact us, email us. Obviously, you just put in your review, so you should be watching this. Yes, please, please email us, support@ElizabethApril, or email Lauren directly, lauren@ElizabethApril.com, and she can book you in for a 30-minute session in your time zone. And then for the new Earth bracelets, Lauren, please mark these down as well. And also, if you're called, please contact us. All right, next winner for one of the new Earth bracelets is Marius, and this is from Canada. Congratulations, Marius.ca from Canada. Congratulations, new Earth bracelet. And then our second new Earth bracelet, because it just happened that way. Oh, and here we go, an American. So European, Canadian, American. Maya Rosie, new Earth bracelet. Congratulations. Please contact Lauren@ElizabethApril, and she can set all of that up. Other than that, everyone else's names are staying in here. I'm adding new names, new reviews pretty much every day, of the week. And it's getting full, so I'm excited. I love you all so, so much. I will see you in a couple of hours for the Galactic Federation event. If you can't show up live, the recording is going to be so wicked awesome. I can't wait to see what comes out today. And then stay tuned for the live video, the infiltration. Let's do it. Let's take down the system. I am so excited to have all of you with me during that experience. Bye for now. Have an amazing rest of your Sunday, and keep up the good vibes, guys. I really appreciate each and every one of you.